Greetings, welcome back to Black Bear News, where we are discussing the ongoing situation around climate change, abrupt climate change, possible near-term human extinction, coming to you live, or not live, from my garage, which actually doubles as a studio. This is mainly where I do my work. For those of you who think this might be my basement or where I sleep, it is not. I'm only half joking. That's what, people like to say when they come on the channel and have not so kind words to say about the information, about me, about viewers, about whatever. There's a little bit of a, every once in a while we get a new crop of what some might call trolls or climate deniers or people who don't like the information, who want to come on and be disrespectful or, argumentative or blah, 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 whatever. Look, there's plenty of room for discussion on this channel. And that's kind of the atmosphere that I, like to keep going, is that, we have open minds and we have, if somebody wants to have a debate about something, that's fine. I understand, though, the thing is that, for a lot of us, it's very frustrating to continue to hear claims of denialism, all these other reasons why, the climate is changing and not the actual science. And so, you get frustrated and you want to lash out and say something about it. I have those moments too. Let's all just try to be as kind as we can, or as thoughtful as we can, if we can. And, if you have moments of emotionality, I forgive you. It happens, nobody's, we have arguments and then we have jokes and we have days where, things are more positive or less positive depending on everybody's mood. So it happens. Moving on. I'm going to quickly read this article from New York Times. I know, so this is, I actually saw this on Facebook. This was posted by Nick Humphrey, a meteorologist that I interviewed on this channel a few months ago. Nick has been posting quite a few articles, posting really good stuff. So, things I see on Twitter and things I see on Facebook and things you all send me, just like, there is a deluge, an onslaught, an overwhelming avalanche of information about the ongoing effects of climate change. You really have to be blind to not see it. You have to really work hard to not see it. But, I get a lot of good articles from y'all posting things on Facebook as well. So anyways, if you're not following Nick Humphrey, I, suggest that you follow him. He's doing good work. I'm going to read this article and then I'm going to read his rebuttal to this article that he posted on Facebook. It's quite good. I really enjoyed it. So it's going to be 2 different videos, and that's what's happening today. New York Times, will we survive climate change? 11 things we'd really like to know. Possibly. There is no scientific support for inevitable doom, one expert notes. This is by John Schwartz, November 19th. Are we doomed? If you're an expert in climate science, you probably get this question a lot. I do, said Kate Marvel, associate research scientist at the NASA Goddard Institute for Space Studies, and I've been hearing it more recently. It's no mystery why. Reports of the threats from a warming planet have been coming fast and furiously. The latest startling analysis from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change predicting terrible food shortages, wildfires, and massive die-offs of coral reefs as soon as 2040, unless governments take strong action. So we already have 2 of those things happening, minus the food shortages, although some might say that's already happening in some places. But wildfires and massive die-off of coral reefs already ongoing. The Paris Climate Accord set a goal of keeping the global temperature from rising more than 2 degrees Celsius or 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit above pre-industrial levels. At 2 degrees, things are bad enough. Arctic sea ice is 10 times more likely to disappear over the summer, along with most of the world's coral reefs. As much as 37% of the world's population becomes exposed to extreme heat waves. With an estimated 411 million people subject to severe urban drought, 80 million people to flooding from rising sea levels. But if we can hold the global temperature increase to 1.5 C Celsius, Arctic sea ice is far likelier to survive through the summers. Okay. Coral reefs, it's probably not going to survive through next summer. Coral reefs will continue to be damaged, but will not be wiped out. The percentage of people exposed to severe heat waves would plummet to about 14%. The number exposed to urban drought would drop by more than 60 million people. Still, no major industrialized nation is on track to meet the 2-degree goal, much less the 1.5-degree mark, and the Earth has already warmed by 1 degree. Even if, through huge effort and force of will, we cut our greenhouse gas emissions greatly, the effect of today's carbon dioxide in the atmosphere will be felt for centuries to come. So we've already actually locked in way more heating than 1.5 degrees Celsius or 2 degrees Celsius. While that is undoubtedly grim, it's not as bad as it could be. Reducing the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere could eventually reverse some of the most troubling effects of warming. The worst case scenarios are so dire that a type of climate coverage has emerged that tends toward the apocalyptic. This year, William T. Vollmann, it's emerged. It's actually been ongoing. Anyways, William T. Vollmann published a 2-volume work, Carbon Ideologies, that he purported to write for inhabitants of the calamitous and wretched future. After describing the amount of energy that goes into making glass, he added, "I hope that you have at least inherited a few of our window panes. Maybe you pried them out of the drowned properties and fitted them into your caves." To James Hansen, the scientist who warned of climate change in the landmark congressional testimony 30 years ago, the apocalyptic talk gets old. "I find the people who think we are doomed to be very tiring and unhelpful," he said. "The most catastrophic outcomes can be avoided if we are smart, and I think we are capable of being smart." Dr. Marvel agreed. "It's worth pointing out that there is no scientific support for inevitable doom," she said. "Climate change is not pass-fail," she added. "There is a real continuum of futures, a continuum of possibilities. So yes, things will be bad, and yes, we do need to do more, so much more, to head off what could come. But how awful things get and for how many people depends on what we do. Although humans famously avoid acting on long-term problems, the species does possess a capacity for looking ahead." Wow, a lot of assumptions in this article. "We do think about the future," Dr. Marvel said. "We plant trees and we have children." Woo! All right. That was, yeah, anyways. Katharine Hayhoe, a climate scientist at Texas Tech University, noted that her professional peers tend to be conservative about their findings. If they say something's bad, you know it's probably a lot worse than they said. Thank you, Katharine Hayhoe. Still, I do find hope. Young people are becoming climate leaders, she noted, and developing technologies already can pull carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. "It's expensive, but the fact that we can do it is pretty danged hopeful," she said. "Part of getting to a better future comes down to explaining more effectively the problems of the present," Dr. Hayhoe said. "Thank you. A message of inevitable doom creates a self-fulfilling prophecy," she said. "The worst will happen because we give up. It might feel that attacking climate change is like moving an enormous boulder with just a few hands to push it," she added. "But there's millions of hands already on the boulder, thanks to things like economic trends favoring renewable energy. The world is changing," Dr. Hayhoe said. It just isn't fast enough." There's not just one way to talk about climate change, however, as Dr. Marvel put it. Dr. Marvel. There's nothing that's going to work on everybody. And there's no definition of work that everybody agrees on. One message might motivate people to act, another might evoke an emotional response, and yet another might teach a concrete fact. All of these are worthy goals. They are not the same thing, she said. Dr. Marvel is no fan of the message some people divined from a recent climate report that there is just over a decade to correct the problem. "I'm willing to bet you a lot of money, $1 million, that in 12 years there will still be human beings on the planet." Ooh. Does she have $1 million? That's certainly no reason for complacency, however. There's no cliff, she said, but there's for sure a slope. A world can continue to slide into greater trouble over time. Ultimately, she said, we really need to have as many voices as possible coming from as many people as possible to do this. After all, she noted, there's nobody that is not going to be touched by climate change in some way. And so that's the end of the article. Take that how you will. Do with it what you will. This touches on the ever-going argument, the subsect or a sub argument in going on around climate change of whether we should all embrace the worst case scenario or the best case scenario or doom, or what can we do about it? There's nothing to do about it. Try to live gently on the planet with our remaining time. All of this is a worthy debate. Although, again, my personal feelings are we're in a really, really bad place. I try to embrace the reality of the situation as much as possible. That's what this channel is about, is discussing and trying to, figure out the reality of the situation as much as we possibly can. And with all of that said, I still think that we should do everything that we can to mitigate the problems at hand. And possibly telling people that things are not as bad as they are might be dangerous misinformation. That's the double-edged sword of hopium, right? Hopium is, I think hope is a fine thing to have personally, but hopium might be telling people that things are better than they are, or things that are going to be okay, when they really should be taking action as if their hair is on fire, or as if the world is on fire, and it is increasingly more so on fire. That's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. If you would like to support this channel, you can do so at the links below. Coming back at you with one more video. Peace.